Hi to everyone who's watching. I'm Iqbal and I'm a senior front-end developer at GDS, which is the Government Digital Service. And joining me today, we have Kelvin and Rosa, who are both senior developers as well. And we're here today to chat about some common misconceptions about pursuing a career in tech. I've just been handed a list of things that people, particularly younger people, seem to think about tech careers. And I'm excited to find out what the three of us think about these sort of myths or preconceptions that people have. So the first one we have is, I don't have the skills to work in technology. So Rosa, what do you think about this common preconception?
Well, firstly, I think that there are many different jobs underneath the umbrella of technology. So it's not just coding skills. So at GDS, we have jobs such as being a developer where you do coding, but we also have designers, project managers, delivery managers, performance analysts, content designers. So those jobs all require lots of different skills, and you probably already have a lot of those skills. So it could be things like breaking down problems, communicating, being creative, helping other people. So I'd say you probably already have a lot of the skills. And if you feel like there are some skills that you don't have yet being the key word, then there's always options to learn. What do you think, Kelvin?
Totally, 100% agree with that. I think as well, the main thing with a lot of people is that, like, the thing about learning on the job as well is a big thing for us. Like, we have apprenticeship schemes, so you can join us as an apprentice. We put you through a boot camp as well. So Makers Academy is a London-based boot camp, and you spend, I can't remember how many weeks, 12 weeks or something like that with them, and you get taught on the job, and you're mentored by us as well. We've got a mentorship scheme within. You're not expected to know everything on day one. I mean, even I, as a senior developer, like, I've been doing this for over a decade, and every day I'm learning something new. Like, it's totally okay to turn up and go, like, I need help. I need to learn this. And I also know people who've switched careers later on in life. So they want to learn coding, they just do it. And you can teach yourself as well. A lot of people we've been working with have taught themselves. I don't think you need to worry too much about it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'd say probably one of the big things I would say is, like, just try different things out and just see what you enjoy. And I think, like, if you do enjoy it, then just get stuck in and just try and learn what you can. And definitely, as Kevin was saying, once you actually get into the job and just get stuck in, you kind of get a real feel for it, and you'll just learn really quickly, just pick things up really quickly. So yeah, thank you for that. So on to the next one. Is a common myth is, I don't know anything about tech, I'll never be able to get a job. So Kelvin, what do you think about that?
I don't think people nowadays really know nothing about tech, because we're using tech every day, quite honestly. Like, you've got a phone, you're using tech, you're on, I don't know, whatever social media of the day it is, whether it's TikTok or something else, you are interfacing. Sorry, interfacing is such an icky word. But anyway, you are using tech every day. You just don't really know it. And if you enjoy using tech, that actually is the spark. That's the beginnings of it, And more than anything, it's really about curiosity. Like, you're using tech and you're kind of thinking, how does this work? But the other side of it is, how do people use tech? How do people benefit from using tech? And actually, that's like product thinking, for example. Like, how can we, or design thinking, how can we deliver services to people that are useful, make things better for their lives, that kind of stuff. It's not just about learning the ins and outs of the technical aspects of how things work. Like, what do you think, Rosa?
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think, you mentioned like phones and social media, and technology just powers so many things, like the way that we consume music and videos, banking, gaming, medicine, the energy industry. I read the other day that apparently there's 100 million lines of code in a new car. So there's probably so many ways that you're using tech without even realizing it. So I think whatever you're interest is, there's probably a way that it intersects with technology somehow. So that could be quite a fun way to get started.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I've worked with colleagues that have had a degree in fine art. Someone else had like a degree in history. Like you just get like so many people just coming into tech. There's so many ways to get in. And as the team was saying earlier, like apprenticeships, and we've got like these fast stream sort of opportunities as well. There is like lots and lots of ways to get in there. So yeah, tech is everywhere. So yeah, so next one we have is that you have to do lots of unpaid internships or work experience in order to get a tech job. So what do you think about that, Rosa?
Well, firstly, I think you should never have to do unpaid work. And I think it's, it doesn't create a very good balance in society for people to have to do unpaid jobs, because obviously you need a certain safety net to be able to do that in the first place. So if that's not an option for you, then I'd say don't let that stop you and don't give up. You might be able to find apprenticeships or junior positions or ways that you can learn on the job. I'd also say, there's a lot of things that you can do to kind of teach yourself. So you can go to maybe technology events. There are lots of free meetups that you could go to. There's loads of resources online that you can learn from. Also kind of maybe looking for someone that can give you a bit more advice about tech careers, even like messaging people on LinkedIn or social media and asking them some questions, because often people are quite, flattered, and then to, answer questions about themselves and about working in tech. So, they might know some openings for, for ways that you can learn skills, hopefully whilst you're still getting paid as well.
Yeah. Kelvin, what do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree about not even having hosting unpaid internships, because it's just exclusionary and it's not really what we're about here at GDS. But again, hammering home the thing about apprenticeships, they're a perfect way of getting started. We're really behind it at the moment. We've got new apprentices starting just early next week, in fact. And I know a bunch of them from years gone past have gone on to graduate into junior roles, and have also become promoted into mid-level roles, and they're just great, and they really enjoy it as well. And then others have gone on to work somewhere else. We put that investment in because we want to put back into society, as well as getting good people through the door to come and work with us. And again, like Rosa was saying, there's loads of meetups. A load of people will turn up and also coach you. Rosa and I have done that in the past as well. I think, Rosa, you're still doing that, right? I haven't been doing it as much during the pandemic, but yeah, go along to like loads of free resources online, meetups. The great thing about the meetups is that you get to meet people who are in the profession, and so you can ask them questions straight off, like face to face or online. They also host like I was going to say Slack channels for people to ask questions. And I also saw a tweet today where someone's son asked them, when they saw them using Slack, "Oh, what's that? Is that Discord for boomers?" And that really hurt. But in case you don't know what Slack is, it's kind of like Discord.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
I would add as well as like going to community things, a thing that can maybe help you with finding work is to build a portfolio up. So a portfolio sounds quite a fancy word, but it could be like short blog posts or building small projects. They don't have to be anything complicated, to just any small thing that you can learn, even doing a tutorial. If you put that up online and show people that you're actively interested in learning, then people will be probably interested in giving you feedback and maybe even a job.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Like GitHub is really good place to post code and things like that. And if you show like an active GitHub profile, and even just any sort of tutorials or things like that, it's a really good place to kind of put those up there and just show your kind of keenness, passion for like coding and learning and things like that. So cool, yeah, thanks for that. And the next one we have is that it's not for people like me. So like the tech career or something might not be for certain people. So Kelvin, what do you think about that?
I I would 100% disagree with that. I think for us, the key thing for me anyway, when I'm working with someone, is whether they think about who they're working for, in the sense of not who your employer is, but who your end user is. Like that's the way. That's the kind of person I like working with, and that's the kind of people we get in. We come here to do the work to help people, really, at the end of the day. And if you've got that kind of philosophy and attitude, then I don't really care what your background is, where you live, where you come from, what your first language is, what your favorite food is, all that kind of stuff. Like whether you went and got a university degree. Nah. If you come in and work with me and what you care about is what we're delivering for the user, then that's it. And that you like tech. Enough. Rosa.
Yeah, agree as well. I think kind of like we mentioned earlier, technology is absolutely everywhere now, and it has so much impact and influence on society. And, if you use technology, then you should be able to influence how it's built. And we want a diverse range of voices and people working on the product, because as Kelvin mentioned, the products are used by a diverse range of users. So, more perspectives, more different types of skills and more different types of talents, that's going to create a more diverse team, and that's going to make much better products. So yeah, you're always going to have things to bring to the table, and things that might be different about you are probably things that could be really, really useful for the team. And you should always, be proud of your differences, because they make you who you are.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, go for it, Kelvin.
Sorry, one thing I was going to add to that is like I personally like to advocate for people to bring their whole selves, and bringing in that difference it links up exactly with what you were saying there as well, Rosa. Sorry, Iqbal, go on.
Yeah, no, and I was going to say, like, GDS, there is you can see people are keen to kind of spread opportunities to just try and go out there and try and interact with other sort of communities and people from different diverse sort of backgrounds. And I think GDS is quite keen to get people from different viewpoints and things like that. And that's something, I think we're very keen to get people in. And I'm very proud to sort of work at GDS, because the services we provide, there's no alternative. So if you're applying for your driving license or something like that, or paying for some sort of government service, you can't just go to a different website and, buy that thing. It has to, we need to make sure what we have is available to everyone. So so that's something that's really great about working at GDS. Cool. Thanks for that, everyone. And the next one we have is, there aren't many tech jobs around or near me. So that could be a myth some people are using to potentially hold them back. Kelvin, any thoughts on this?
I think for us in particular at GDS, like, we support remote working, and we're very flexible as well. And like, in terms of having to go to an office, like, we have our 3 main hubs at different corners of the country. So we've got London as our base. We've also got Manchester and Bristol. And so those other parts of the country, we've got these hubs for people to get together and meet and work together anyway. So hopefully it'd be a bit closer to you. But that also gives you an opportunity sometimes, like if you want to go and move somewhere else in the country and work somewhere for a bit, and then you can jump tech jobs are everywhere in the world. So I think that's pretty cool as well about the industry.
Cool. Yeah, and also another thing is, I think, like, as Rosa was saying earlier, tech isn't just developers and people like that. There's, loads of other opportunities, like product managers, user researchers, content writers, delivery managers. There's so many things. It's always changing and evolving all the time as well. So yeah, there could be more jobs out there. It's just maybe widening the field and think about other things that you might be interested in. Cool. So the next one we have is, I don't know anyone who works in tech and don't know where to start. So Kelvin, any ideas about this?
Yeah, so it goes back to finding the meetups and networks. they can be quite varied and niche in themselves as well. So like, say for example, you might be someone who has a Raspberry Pi through school, or you got given one, or whatever. And a lot of meetups around the country are centered around that. People who just have those and want to get together and talk about how they play with theirs or do stuff with theirs, and and that's a good in. That's how you can get to know people. The other thing as well is like the kind of code clubs in the area. Just go along, meet them as well. Like, just introduce yourselves to people, or start one like Rosa did. And it's all online as well. Like, you can just join a chat somewhere and say, "Hey, I'm really keen to learn JavaScript. I'm totally new to this." People are going to be there like, "Oh, great! Welcome to the family. Here's some stuff we think you can get going with. Oh, if you're stuck with this is the way we fixed it." That kind of stuff. Yeah, it's nothing to be frightened of. Like, we're a pretty welcoming bunch. We, as a culture, we will like to kind of help each other out a lot as well.
Cool, nice. Rosa?
I guess I'd add to that to say using social networks can be quite good as well. I know that social media isn't for everyone, but for example, on Twitter, when I first started working in tech, because like I said, I didn't know anyone that really worked in tech. I just followed lots of people, and I barely really post on there, but I do still go on there and read sometimes. So that was quite a good way to learn about things, learn about conferences or events that were happening, reading their blog, reading talks that they'd posted. I know that there are a lot of more kind of Instagram tech bloggers now that are really interesting, and also people on YouTube. So there's a lot of there's a lot of people that are posting about tech online, and a lot of great people to learn from. So yeah, that would be my advice.
Cool. Yeah, I was actually helping out some network and some group of coders, and they asked like if I would mind just like providing some mentoring, and I really enjoyed it. It was really nice. Just like, people would just book a calendar invite with me, and we just did it online, and it's just one-on-one. Like, some of the people that brand new didn't know much, and just asked me some questions, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. Really like sort of chatting to the people. So, and what you'd be surprised that there'll be people out there, if you did reach out to them, they'll be more than happy to spend some time with you and help things out. And I do actually know a few graduates actually that reached out to people on LinkedIn, and surprisingly they got quite a few responses back and a lot of help. So I'd say LinkedIn is really good as well. So if you do see anyone, just try sort of sending out a few messages. You just never know. Cool. And now we're on to the final one, which is, it's no fun to work in tech. So Rosa, what do you think about that?
I think working in tech is really good. I mean, it's a job where you get to build things that potentially, I mean, on GovUK, millions of people use our products every week. So it's amazing to go from having like a plain text file on your computer, writing in some code, and then as a result of that, you've got something that people can actually use and interact with. And I think that's like really amazing. It's nice to be able to build things that help people, and again, that people can use. It's also a really creative job. So I think people assume that working in tech is quite like nerdy, and it's just the people that don't see the sunlight, sitting in the basement coding all day. But actually it's not like that. There's a lot of collaboration. It's very creative. You have to kind of think of an idea and make it happen. Also, the tech industry is generally like quite fun. The tech offices are generally quite cool. They're usually made in a way that there's space for a lot of collaboration and communication. And I think my favorite thing about working in tech is that you're always learning. Things are always changing. It's always evolving. So you never get bored. Sometimes it can be a blessing and a curse because there's so many things to learn. But as long as you kind of like don't try not to get too overwhelmed by the enormity of it, and just start small. It's amazing what you can even learn in like 1 hour. 1 hour, have a break, do something else, and then come back again. So yeah, I think that's definitely my favorite thing about working in tech.
Nice one.
Yeah, definitely. like it is a deeply rewarding role as well. Like Rosa, you were talking about like building something useful. You were on the critically vulnerable people service at the start of the pandemic, and that is like mind-blowingly but useful, actually, like life-saving. You know, sending food to people who are isolating and can't get out at the beginning of the pandemic. You know, and that had so many people involved in it as well, didn't it? And like for me as well, working in gov.uk, the impact that we have on people's lives is so like, it's a huge responsibility, but it's super rewarding. And then there is a fun aspect to it as well. Like you are working with like a huge a huge variety of disciplines and the types of people who are just really, really great people and really fun to work with.
Yeah, one of the other big things I've noticed as a sort of front-end developer is the focus we have on accessibility. So as I was saying earlier, in terms of making sure our apps work with screen readers and other sort of accessibility tools, like we spend quite a bit of time on that. And I've just never had that anywhere I've worked on. So, and I've worked quite a few years in the private sector. And so, I really kind of enjoy that in GDS. And also, as Kelvin and Rosa were saying, you get to work with service designers, content designers, like delivery managers. There's all these different kind of disciplines, and you kind of all work together when you produce something, and you get like really good feedback from it as well. It's like a really good sort of rewarding sort of feeling. So amazing. Good stuff. So I think that's brought us to the end of our conversation. So just like to say thanks to Kelvin and Rosa for chatting to me today and sharing what they know about a career in tech. Hopefully we've convinced you to think again about whether a career in tech is right for you, and hint to keep an eye out for opportunities to come and work with us at GDS. So you get to work with great people like ourselves. And also you can find more about GDS and the work we do at gds.blog.gov.uk. And we also have a podcast, and we're also on the socials at GDS Team. And you can find us on Twitter and Instagram. And you can find the latest job opportunities just by searching for GDS Careers on Google. So thank you very much. And thanks again to Kelvin and Rosa as well. See you all later.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks, Rosa.